Hi, and welcome to another one of our design boardrooms. If this is your first time here, this is where we love sharing information on color, marketing, design, home staging. This is your go-to place, and we always encourage you to email us if there's something that you want us to discuss in the boardroom. JoAnne and I would love to do that. And I'm going to see if I can flip to this. Got to get this out of my way for a second. So I'm Sandra Racz, and with me is JoAnne Lenart-Weary. Hi, JoAnne.
Hello, everybody.
So we're talking about things that we are thankful for. And, we are list gals. We love to make a list of what we want to do every day. But it was really even hard to kind of break this list down because we were thankful for a lot of things in our business and our lives. And we just thought we would pick our top 10 and share them with you. Um, and here we are in action. We've learned over the
Yes.
years the things that we do really love, things that we don't love, things that didn't work for us, even some things that didn't work for us that might work for you. And we've perfected some things over the years, and we want to share them with you. And this really pretty much looks like a lot of our workspaces. We've got things spread out, even in the classes, like you just saw. We love having that hands-on effect and for you to be able to kind of experience, touch, and feel and figure out the things that you're going to be thankful for and what are going to work in your business and work for your clients.
Yeah, as Sandra said, one of the beauties of being in business as long as we have been, we've done it all. We have failed, we have succeeded. And the major thing that I think is so important, someone said something the other day about being our age. And as Sandra's in her 60s, I'm in my 70s. And the comment was made, this woman was my age, and she said, I don't know if I'm relevant anymore. Well, you keep yourself relevant. So you will notice as we look at today's list, Sandra and I do not sit and use necessarily the same way or approach things in the same process as we did 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. We are always evolving and taking advantage of what is out there. And so it's critical for you to do the same thing. And we're going to share some new things with you today, as well as some of the tried and true. So, the first thing we are thankful for is that we were blessed with an eye for design. Some people sing, some people bake, some people are artists. And ever since I was little, and I know Sandra and most of you listening to that, you always had that eye that when you walked into a room, there were things that delighted you. There were things that you wanted to move, that you wanted to change. I think it's important for you to understand that rules are important in design. Excuse me, because those rules help you to create beautiful spaces again and again. But you also need to know how to manipulate those rules to work well. And I think that's the important thing. We always tell our students when they come into our classes, you may have a good design eye, but what we are going to teach you is the whys. Why the sofa looks better there. Why is this color palette better? So having that eye for design is critical, but learning the whys behind the process will give you great confidence. So, for example, when you look at this beautiful room, at first glance, the strong contrast makes it very interesting. But what are the things that you could do in this space to make it better? And I guess, Sandra, my animations didn't work because they were supposed to fly in one at a time. But here we go. So this is a room, and one of the things you may have heard us talk before about our DNA, our darn near always, we are each drawn to certain things based on life experiences, emotional experience that we've had in life. And sometimes those could be good and bad. So when we look at this room, the things that are wrong is there are too many lines, rectangles, and horizontal lines in the space. You already have a long bowling alley room. So your eye for design may say, "Oh, there are elements about this space that I really like," but there are other things that aren't quite right. Um, Notice that there is nothing in the skyline zone, 78 inches up to and including the ceiling. So you need to bring the weight of the function zone, 0 to 36 inches, and the power zone, 36 to 78 inches, up into that skyline zone. So this room would benefit greatly with some type of window treatments. Imagine some woven bamboo blinds at those windows, how great that could look just to mount them almost at the ceiling line, or even light window treatments, but they would have a wood rod so that that weight would be carried up. The rug is handsome as can be. I love that rug, but it is not the right shape for a long bowling alley room.
One thing too is when you do train your eye and you get those design principles, and we're thankful for rules and guidelines, even this, let me see if I can get, there we go. Just having these chairs lined up right on that line would make sense because otherwise your eye's going to feel off because it's going to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, you need
But
that anchor. That's such a good point.
and then, but I don't think this is going to be enough room to shimmy in there. And then,
Hmm.
you're going to lean back a little bit in these chairs. So at the end of the day, knowing the design principles is so empowering, but you also have to have some function. And the other thing, I love what you said too, JoAnne, by having those drapes on the right side, you wouldn't feel like, I almost feel like I'm already leaning to the left because we have
Hmm.
all the weight um,
Hmm.
on that side. So great point. And your client won't know that. So you being able to point that out to them as, when they say something feels off in this room, having those talking points is going to be something you're going to be really thankful for.
Hmm. Absolutely. So here's just kind of a quick idea using the similar room, adding a rug that has some curves to it and some roundness instantly makes a space feel wider as well. Notice how the piece of art above the fireplace kind of mimics those colors, pulls the weight up into the skyline zone as in having the draperies. Unfortunately, the space is really too small to have a cocktail table. So removing the cocktail table and making sure that you have tables on either end of the upholstery. In a perfect world, changing that sofa into a love seat and facing the fireplace with the chairs flanking the fireplace could be a great um, look for this. And again, this is just a quick overview. This was done with AI just to kind of show you. Notice how, too, instead of those linear pictures on the left-hand side, adding a round mirror, which reflects the light in the window opposite, making the room feel wider. And also, again, just adding some other lines to that room. So you have that perfect balance of rounds and vertical and horizontal lines.
And mentioning the AI, yesterday I met with a client and I literally was so thankful that I had popped in some options that we had for an awkward space over there in the kitchen. That being able to give that visual or even showing this client how a smaller scale pair of chairs that you could angle or like JoAnne said, put on the left and right of the fireplace. So having that ability to show your client really does make your life easier and it helps them understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. Mm.
Okay, next thing, those little tools. Sandra, I know you love these as much as I do.
Oh, I love them. They just make my life easier. And I will have to tell you, even in my own home, my husband's thankful for them because I'm like, just get out of my way. I got this. I can move that, piano
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, something large. So they do make such a difference. And that instant visual validation for your client when you're like, I'm going to move this furniture so you can see it.
Absolutely. So this set was on Amazon, 21.99. Not only did it come with the furniture movers, both for hardwood floors or hard floors and carpeting, but it also came with a furniture lifter, so that you can get them under there. So often we're on a job alone and that struggle. And especially as we've gotten older, I'm not quite as flexible as I used to be. So make sure that you have armed yourself. As Sandra mentioned, oftentimes when I will go to a client's house, um, moving that sofa is like I have such a hard time. I'll be distracted because it's like I want to move the sofa so bad, or I want to move a chair. So this is something I keep with me all the time, so I can do a quick little redesign if I want, and then encourage the client to go for the full meal deal. So arm yourself with the right tools. Color. We are so thankful for color. And as I look at the color palette changing, we have lived in a white world and shades of white and neutrals for such a long time. And although that is a beautiful look, there's a sameness to it because we're seeing it everywhere. This is Sherwin-Williams 2026 Restorative Darks, and it's part of their Colors of the Year palette that they are creating. So if you are a person who loves like colors, also allow yourself to feel comfortable with bringing color up the wall. Remember, when you are recommending to your client, are you recommending based on what you would want in your home, or what really is best for your client's home, and their own DNA? Isn't
Great.
this a pretty color palette?
It really is. It is so gorgeous. And also, not forgetting to include those existing colors like the flooring or trim work that is,
Right.
if your client's not into color drenching, making sure that trim is considered when you pick out these dark colors, but knowing what's on trend.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Oh, this is our new friend. My friend Margie Nance has been trying to convince me to use Trello. There's a free version of it. And I kept thinking, oh, it looks way too complicated. Let me tell you, Trello is wonderful. So you think about the way Trello really works is you are looking at um, our board, and this is a board that Sandra and I and Margie were working as we were revamping Sandra's website. So each of those little things is like a file drawer. Each of those boards is like a file cabinet, I should say. And then each of the cards is like a file folder. And then on each file folder, you have all the stuff that would go inside a file folder. So if I need a picture, Sandra and I would always be looking for pictures for blogs and stuff. Now it's like all I have to do is go right to our Trello board and I can access the pictures at anytime. It's such a good way to organize yourself, whether it is your business or personal, and also just to interact with others. So this is a new tool that I am using with some of my coaching clients and some of my social media and web design clients that I've been working with, because they can drop things in there. I can drop things in there. Nobody has to search for anything.
and I am using it right now because we are searching and sourcing two types of chandeliers for this one client. And when I was going back and forth to emails and then having to click on the link again, and then like, did she mean this one or that one? It has like saved her money. It saved
Hmm.
me Tylenol, and it saved her money because we're just so much more efficient. Plus, it looks good to the client that we are just so organized with it. And I have to tell you, I literally paid my tag bill for 2 years. And in my personal one, I just drug over the confirmation receipt. And so I have it.
Hmm.
So it's just personal and for business.
Right. So you can share an individual board with a client or a peer, or again, like if you were working with uh, Sandra and I or Margie and I on a website or something, you can share that. But all of my other boards remain private. So this is a wonderful tool, Trello.com. Go check it out. Sign up for the free. If you have any questions and you're not quite sure how to do it, just reach out to us. Social media. I am so thankful for social media. You need to understand, for those of you that have been in business in, just the last 10 years. Remember when I started my business 40 plus years ago, there was no free advertising. Everything I did, I had to open up my checkbook. Radio advertising, television advertising, newspaper advertising, everything was to be paid for. Now, occasionally I would get some PR thing if I was involved in something, but social media is free marketing that you just have to use effectively. It also gives you an opportunity to make more money. You are never going to get rich in your design business if all you're selling is your time. You need to be able to sell products. So to use affiliate marketing where you send them a link to something on Amazon and Amazon pays you, many of your vendors, Wayfair, Crate and Barrel, Pottery Barn, you name it, you can sign up for their affiliate program. As well as, of course, we encourage you to have your wholesale marketing. But you need a strategy to work social media effectively. Most important, and Sandra and I learned this not too long ago. If you are working on your social media, you have to make sure that the backup is connected correctly. In other words, if you're doing something and you want to drive them to the website, then when your website needs to tell them what to do when they get there, make it easy for your clients to utilize you and fall in love with you.
And I really, I mean, if I'm being honest, I have a love-hate relationship with social media. But JoAnne's right. You have to embrace it it was where we are today. But if you don't feel like you have that love for it yet, or you don't understand it, and I'll be honest, I mean, heck, I have a marketing degree and I hate it sometimes, but it is being able to embrace it, like we said, always evolving, or breaking it down, or have somebody help you walk you through it. JoAnne is really good at that, breaking that down, because I feel like Trello keeps me organized, but social media, you might need somebody to kind of walk you through it a little bit more.
And I want to say, with that old saying of done is good, um, done is not good in social media. You do not just throw something up to throw it up. You need a strategy and a plan. What am I trying to accomplish? Are you trying to build your email list? Are you trying to get customers? You have to know. So don't just throw up a post and say, there, I did my social media. You need to have a plan. Trends. I'm thankful for trends because, quite frankly, they keep us in business. What was hot 3 years ago is suddenly not anymore. And as we're looking at what's going on out there, of course, we've seen the grandma chic and the grand millennial, and now grandpa chic is coming in. And grandpa chic has very much of a whole Ralph Lauren kind of look to it. So the big trend this year for Christmas is pink Christmas trees and decorations, and Ralph Lauren inspired trees with all of those elements like you see in a great man's hideaway room. And then we're seeing that shift to what I'm calling weighted transitional. So still those comfortable transitional pieces, but rather than being all in neutrals, we're seeing more contrast in color. And as we talked a little bit ago about, bringing more color into the room and not just tone on tone.
And and the weighted transitional on the right is such a good example for that client that's not ready to go with those really deep, moody colors, but to
Hmm.
be able to introduce a little bit of it with what you're seeing in the color of the bookcases and that focal wall.
Absolutely. Okay, we are thankful for multiple revenue streams. Again, I mentioned a little bit ago, you cannot just make money for your time. And if you are counting primarily on your time, you need to think of ways that you can mix and match it. Obviously, consultations and color consultations are going to be the easiest way for you to start out making money. When someone says to me, what class should I take first? I always say, start with color because you can start making money right away while you take your next courses. Color is an easy sell. Everyone is intimidated by it. Using interior redesign services and or one-day decorating, that is not old school. Nothing makes my clients happier when I take what they've had and transform the room in the matter of a few hours. I mean, I started one-day decorating back in the 80s, and it has been the backbone of my business all of these years. Of course, home staging is still a popular service. If you're not doing it, you don't have to go the route of lots of inventory and schlepping and moving trucks. You can do occupied staging. Um, Floor to ceiling interior design. If you are feeling comfortable and you're love to do more than working with what they have. There is a real need out there for those services. And then you're making money on your time, on your product, on your vendors. Seasonal decorating, huge, huge
Big.
opportunity for you to make money. Um, and then, of course, upcharging product. I just had this conversation with my son last night, who is a contractor. And he said, I don't upcharge my client for materials. I charge them whatever I am charged because he doesn't want to chase that extra sales tax. And I said, do you know how much money you're leaving on the table? And I've heard that from uh, people that we work with in the industry. So marking up your product because your expertise is involved, you've taken the time to curate a look for that client. Marking up product, whether you bought it retail or wholesale, should be an important part of your overall revenue stream. Um, Offering just styling services. Maybe again, your client has all of the core pieces in the furniture, but they just need you to go shopping for the frosting on the cake, the lighting, the artwork, whatever. And window treatments. Window treatments are coming back big. We've been living in a world of um, uh, drapery panels hanging on a rod. Well, layers, layers, layers are back. If Ralph Lauren look is coming back, then you know window treatments with multiple layers are back in, and that is a great way for you to make extra money. And Sandra and I will be doing a program on that in the new year and how to go about that. Sandra?
Yeah, I want to throw this out too because some of it is a mindset to be able, like JoAnne was given the example of struggling to the mindset to mark up product. I remember one day in class, I said, it's industry standard. And one of the students goes, oh, okay, well, then I don't have a problem with it. And I'm like, so if you kind of get in your head, it's what's expected for this industry, then you're going to get a little bit more comfortable with it. And then the other thing is don't underestimate the vendors or the contractors that you may bring to the party. So when I would refer somebody for some window tint or some blinds, they are so happy that I brought them to the table or brought them to the client. They're happy to give a percentage. And again, it's industry standard. So you are leaving the money on the table, but it's also expected.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Canva, you've heard us talk about it before. I don't know what I would do without Canva. It is amazing. Most of you know I'm a huge volunteer person in our little town of Waterford. And, the fact that I have Canva to utilize to make posters, flyers, newsletters, community calendars. I don't know what I would do without it, as well as for my own business and personal uses. Canva just did a big update. They have some great new features. Go into their design school, Design University, I believe it's called, and check out what some of the newest things are. Just yesterday, even, I'll implement a picture into Canva. And then I saw a mention of, how to make your photograph or your graphic look more professional. And it talked about shadowing and layering. And I've never done any of that stuff. So I followed the steps. And when I was done, I was like, oh my God, that looks like a true professional did it. But using Canva, couple little tricks I'm going to tell you. If you choose a Canva template to work from, don't be changing the template all different ways. Change the colors, change the font. But that template was laid out for a reason. Those people designing those templates are graphic designers, so they understand it. Number two, don't just be a center only person. As you're creating images, keep your big image to the left or the right, which allows you then more text room on your screen. And it makes for a more interesting presentation. So there's two little tips I'll share with you.
And don't forget, if you want to know more, um, JoAnne, one of the boardrooms, JoAnne talked about Canva and gives a lot of great information. It's right on the YouTube channel. And then there's a deeper dive that we have in the design lab. And so she'll go deeper into Canva and teach you more how to use it. Because, I mean, there's a little bit of a learning curve,
Mm-hmm.
but why not have somebody spell it out for you? So take advantage of those opportunities.
Shopping.
Yay!
Well, hello. I am so thankful for shopping. I love to go shopping. And when I am shopping and spending someone else's money, all the more fun. So as you look into this coming year, think about, can you make it work to attend one of the markets this year? Even if you don't have the budget to really buy a lot. It's great for you to go just to see what's up and coming, what's out there. There's many possibilities besides your local home goods store, let me tell you. Markets will start happening in January. Start with a small one, Dallas, Atlanta, um,
Whoever's
uh,
closer to you. Yeah.
yeah, whatever's closer to you. And then you can go to the big ones like Vegas or High Point. Um, and then also, really build relationships at some of your local retails that you do. Like, here the girls from Home Goods will call me and say, oh, JoAnne, wait till you see what just came in. So I'm always in front because when you go to Home Goods, once it's gone, it's gone. And oftentimes they'll only have three or four, and sometimes not even that many of an item. So using shopping as a revenue stream and understanding what's out there. I was with a friend the other day who has a retail store. She's been open for a few years in spite of herself. She tells me all the time, I hate shopping. I never go into stores. I don't know what the trends are. Then why do you have a retail store? Because and I said to her how critical it is that I mentioned something to her about, she was decorating her store for the holidays, and I often help her with stuff, and I said let's go with a Ralph Lauren themed tree. Well, she didn't even know who Ralph Lauren was, because she's not a shopper at all. And Ralph Lauren is old school, but old school is exciting again. So take advantage and look to see what is out there and where the trends are leading.
Another plus about shopping and getting out there, even if you don't have anything to do that day, perusing a store to get some ideas, is
Mm-hmm.
it also gives you back to that other number we had, social media content.
Hmm.
In fact, JoAnne and I did a trends. Um, we had a speaking engagement for one of the conferences, and we literally went to stores. We had also picked stuff out at market to be able to identify what's trending, but what people could buy, we just had to go local. We went and just did short videos, and we had tons of content that we could use.
Hmm. Yeah, don't be afraid to talk into your camera when you're in your home goods store or Target, or I mean, people can go dancing and doing flips in the middle of Walmart. You certainly can talk about a piece of art at home goods. It's really the expected anymore to see a content builder.
Right. And don't be shy when somebody's on the next aisle. I mean, I do
Yeah.
feel like I've helped a couple marriages while I'm shopping because, the husband didn't see why that piece of art was going to work. So, or how
one of
to
the
hang it.
things and one of the things that I do for my clients when I'm working with them and we establish a color palette is I shop with those strips with me. So, if my client is a C palette and they're primarily the warms, and I've measured the colors in their rug and their sofa and whatever. So, I might have strip whatever, 220, 470, 630, whatever it may be. I'll put it on a separate ring with me, so as I'm shopping I have their colors right in front of me, and I can't tell you how many times that has stopped customers in their tracks and they would say, where did you get that, how did you do that? And it's led to my scheduling color consultations. So carry some tools that make you look like you know what you're doing, and you'll be surprised how you'll end up getting business.
And be efficient. Have a plan how
Hmm.
you're going to shop. I One day I was shocked when I had um, a gal call me up and said, "Can I shop with you?" And I'm like, "Okay, why?" And and she's like, "Because I don't feel like I do it efficiently." And I said, "Okay, it is true because you need to be laser focused when you're in there, or we can all be distracted by pretty things."
Absolutely. You shop one client at a time. Okay, number 10, our business peers and friends. Listen, the DSA was started in 1999, and we have so many lovely, lovely people, and a number of you show up for Design Boardroom, which formerly was called Last Tuesday. Um, so the fact that we've developed these friendships with people who have been our students over the years, reach out to other people in the industry. Now, maybe the girl that has a business in your backyard may not be interested, although she's crazy. But find other people that are in the industry. Look at the names when you're on one of our uh, uh, webinars or something, or reach out to us and say, hey, I am in, Northwest Florida. Can you recommend some people around to me that we can get together for lunch and brainstorm? Build a support system. And of course, Sandra and I are a huge part of your support system. So reach out to us and foster those relationships. We are thankful for each and every one of you that show up on a regular basis. For those of you that are brand new and those of you that have been with us through our entire journey, we're delighted.
I do just get a chuckle. Just we do have a lot of fun, as you can see.
Yes.
And I do want to point out, so in the bottom left right here, this is a student, Patty, and I did get the biggest kick. She came to class. She had already bought our book, and these are the tabs that she had made, just highlighting pages. I'm like, well, you could have just highlighted the whole book. I mean, I'm flattered. JoAnne and I are flattered you, but I thought that was so cute. I had to put that in there. So thank you guys so much for joining us and just being part of our lives. Like JoAnne said, we're thankful for our peers and our friends and you guys, and we want to be here to help you build your business in any way we can. So feel free to reach out to us.
And we will see you for the next design boardroom. There will not be one in December, but we will be back in January of 2026. And what we would love to hear from you is, what do you want to know more of? Um, and also stay tuned for the grand unveiling of the new DSA website coming soon. And we got some things up our sleeves because you know what? We're relevant.
Ditto, ditto. Thank you guys so much.